All right, everyone. We are over here at Hebron today. Again, Ben makes fun of me for saying live, but we are live in person right now, not
Yes.
when this airs,
Yes.
with a special group of guys. So around to my left, we got Andrew McClure, which has been on the show several times. He's a regular now at this point. Good buddy Eric Eskins. I said that right?
Yes.
Eric and I have shot a little bit of archery together, right?
If he was a good buddy, you'd know his last name.
Yeah, I guess. I just like to beat him up on the 3D course.
Yeah.
And then Kurt Naistetler.
Yep.
All right, cool. And now that one,
Usually
I
get
just
that-
learned.
you
I
just
just
learned that.
learned. Well, I can appreciate having a hard last name. I've lived my whole life with that. So,
Yeah.
not all of us can be like a Smith.
Or Brown. Yeah.
Or Brown.
The usual
Or
ones.
Johnson, for that matter. And so the man with the plan back there, Ben Johnson, he's the Jamie today. So similar to what we had, we got too many guests and not enough microphones. And Ben said, you know what, I got all this sweet camera equipment back here. I'm going to play with it. So we'll have him pull up all the weird alien documentary stuff like Jamie
So we
does
have
for Joe
random
Rogan.
questions, yeah.
Like, Ben, pull that up. Make sure Google that for us. Make
Can
sure
you
that he's
Google
not
that?
lying,
Yeah.
right?
Perfect.
Well, fellas, thanks for coming in. Andrew kind of set this up, and I appreciate him kind of setting this up. Kurt obviously had a big weekend a couple weeks ago, and so
Yeah.
we want to talk about that a little bit. But before we get too far, Andrew, everyone kind of knows you, but give a quick 30,000 view of Andrew McClure, and then we'll go into Eric and then Kurt, just kind of your background.
Yeah. So my background is archery-based hunting in the outdoors. So, and then kind of partnering and enjoying Vance's here. It's just been fun. So I'm a big gear junkie, always questioning, and trying to understand the processes of a lot of gear and products that come out, if it allows me to hunt more comfortably, or if it gives me any, if it just gives me any benefit.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I'm just
stacking the cards in your favor.
just trying to give me some better odds.
Sure.
It's always the deer always win.
Oh, for sure.
99% of the time.
Especially this
And
year.
so if I can stack it in my favor and just I'm going to do it. So I'm just an archery hunter, gear junkie. And so that would be my probably 30,000.
And pro staff member right here at Vance Outdoors.
That is true.
So
Yes.
we like having you on. He gives a good perspective of everything. Eric, we've shot in a couple times.
We have.
Especially down there at Shane's shop at Fairfield
Yep.
Outdoors, which Friday night you find me at the 3D range. But let's go ahead and introduce yourself and kind of give a little bit of background about yourself, man.
Okay. I'm Eric Eskins, and I got into archery through deer hunting, a lot like everybody else. You start out when you're young, shooting a bow. Getting into deer hunting, I was terrible at it. So a friend of mine said, hey, man, you need to check out 3D.
Yeah.
You need to go shoot some targets and get better, be able to shoot deer, because I was terrible. So I took up 3D to try to get better to shoot deer. It worked, and here I am.
Yeah. And he didn't tell you that it was just like last year.
Yeah, he started last year. Man, you got good quick.
Yeah.
I got a lot to catch up on.
Yeah.
That was quick.
I love it. Eric is definitely the guy when you're going down there to shoot on Friday night that you want Shane to randomly pair you with.
Yeah, on a good night. There's
On a good-
nights that it's not so good, and you don't want my pairing for sure.
Yeah. The one day I was paired up with Brandon. I don't know how this
Yeah, good
worked
luck
out,
with
but he
that.
shot like the best
he
round
did?
of his life that day.
Lights out.
Yeah, and we ended up winning some gift card money. So that
He
was
can
awesome.
be on or off.
And we'll
that's
get to
for
Kurt.
sure.
Let's get to Kurt
Yes,
and then let's
yeah.
start.
Let's get to Kurt. So Kurt, thank you for joining us. You're the man of the hour today.
Yeah, you are
Oh,
the
yeah.
So you're our special guest. Eric
Okay.
is too, but Kurt's definitely got some.
Not as special as Kurt.
Kurt's better
Yeah.
right now.
Kurt, go ahead and introduce yourself for us. Mike.
Kurt Naistetler. I shoot archery. Been in it for 40-plus years, just shooting, starting out bow hunting
Sure.
like everybody else.
Sure.
It was more of a seasonal thing, and then got into it a little bit more, started the 3D back a number of years ago, and went from there to spots and anything else so you can shoot an arrow.
Oh, sure. And we had talked a little bit before we got started recording. I mean, when we talk about a little while ago, it was a good bit, and you talked about some of the innovation and stuff that you've seen throughout the year, especially when you look at all these bows behind us and just how much they can shoot themselves almost, it seems, at this point. But if you can, kind of address on just some of the stuff that you've seen over the years as you progress through archery.
No, everything from before the fiber optics ever came out. You just had a little pin with a little spot of
Paint on it.
yeah, paint on it, and you went from fiber optics and everything, and the lighted fibers, and
Sure.
and you just keep on going to rests. Like I was telling you earlier, we actually built our own fall away rests in the years before they ever actually made them, and it was right out to the type of targets you shoot, and the bales and stuff, where the bales were made out of compressed cardboard, and you'd shoot a bale until you shot the cardboard,
Yeah, no doubt.
and then
Targets
throw it
come
away,
a long way.
and then you were hunting a place to find more cardboard and put a strap around it and shoot it some more.
That's awesome. And the funny thing is, he's saying all that, and he's got a 10-point sitting right above him that would probably shoot through 18 bales of cardboard before they'd even slow down. So things have drastically changed for sure. Haven't they?
Yeah, especially for the crossbows.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
With the
For sure.
compounds, what do you think's advanced the most? From when
The
you first
cams.
started?
The cams are just unbelievable. I mean, the cam before was just like a little round wheel cam.
Yeah.
And it wasn't much to it. It almost had more of a steady pull all the way through and not much of a valley.
Yeah.
And
when you when you say valleys, are you talking like let off?
yeah, the let
so
off
like
in the
you're
back.
holding
yeah,
it, just
we,
never
we considered that
lightened
the
it.
valley
Okay.
years
Sure.
ago. And and then the limbs. I mean, they made limbs nowadays. When they first come out with carbon fiber limbs, it was like, what?
Oh, yeah.
That was the greatest thing ever. Because you had limbs that were more matched. It wasn't just. You get two limbs. Well, we'd try them top and bottom, back and forth, and then you had to tiller tune them just to get the limb to bend the same top and bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, it was all that stuff.
And this is all for accuracy.
And that was for hunting, for anything.
Okay.
I mean, the best shot you could make is what you tried to do. So.
Yeah.
I love it. And it's hearing him talking about like just the my very first compound bow. I remember it was one that was given to me. I wasn't even really into hunting or anything, but I had just moved to Thornville, where kind of the area that I live now, probably 12 or 13 years old. I was in middle school. And that pin that you were talking about was basically just I don't even know how you describe it outside of a metal pin that had like the knurling on the end.
With threads.
And it had,
So you
it
go
had
left and right.
Yep. And it had the white paint dot on it, and you had three of them.
Yeah.
And it was, like you said, the limb saver pucks and all that stuff. Now it's just like that stuff is completely
I
obsolete.
think at one
at this
point they were hollow, weren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, mine was
Instead
solid
of
brass, I think.
Yeah,
is what it was.
you know,
I've seen them where it was just a metal ring out there even.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even that.
Some of the feeder shooters did that. They had a ring with a dot sitting out there because that would align, because they shot the round bales. Well, that would align one of the colors of the circle.
Yeah.
Because you went from yellow to red to blue to, all the way out black and white. So they would have that, and they'd slide it in and out to get it to the circle with the pin in the middle, and that helped a lot of the feeder shooters.
Yeah.
Now, when you say FIDA, for someone that wouldn't understand what that is,
like
what,
90 meters.
90 meters, so like
that's
Olympic
style.
Olympic
stuff,
style. So field archery, I think is that.
Then those bows are just completely different,
Yeah.
almost, than
Yeah.
what everyone, than these, like the current compounds.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
But
cool.
they did have a compound side of it too that we
Okay.
shot it. So it wasn't all just recurves. It was compounds too. So
And then for the FIDA, like when what was the diameter, like when you're trying to shoot a 10 ring, what was the size of that at 90 meters?
it would have been 120 centimeter target, which is the whole target, but it was probably I'm going to say 6 inches across at a 10 ring.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's still dialed.
That's still,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
that's
Well,
dialed.
if you take the regular Vegas target we shoot today, and you kept bringing it out to 60 yards, let's say at 20 and then 40 and then 60, it's the exact same size, but it just grows in increments for the distance.
So technically, the difficulty or the 10 ring is proportional
Out
at
to
distance.
60.
Oh, okay.
Out to 60. Now from then on, that's when it
changes.
Yeah, when it gets tougher. You're using that same size from 60 on out to 90. So.
Okay. So going along with these Vegas targets, you just came back from Lancaster, PA.
Yep.
Yeah.
Had a national tournament.
Yep.
Yeah. That was really cool to watch that kind of
Yeah.
unfold a little bit, just from outside looking in. I think Eric and
You were
Pete,
there.
You were there. Pete was there
Yep.
too, right? Pete.
Yep.
I think Pete,
Brian, I think, was there.
Yeah, Brian
yes,
was. Yeah.
seeing that stuff on social media, and I was like, man,
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
oh, for sure. That's a sweet shoot.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So explain the Vegas target,
Yeah.
and then we'll kind of go into the shoot a little bit.
It's just they can have a vertical, which is a 3-spot,
Okay.
straight up and down, and or a 3-spot, which is a triangle.
Okay.
And
Yep.
that's what we've been shooting out there. A couple years ago, we shot the vertical, the straight up and down.
And so they can change it year to year.
They did
Okay.
from back then.
Yeah.
And then that 10 ring is 4 centimeters.
Yeah, it's
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I always refer to the X as the size of a dime.
Okay.
Okay.
If you think of a dime,
Yeah.
that's what size the X is.
Okay. And
Yeah.
is what you're trying to do is shoot a perfect score to make it to a shoot down, and a perfect score would be a 330.
Yes.
So it's 3 arrows, 10 ends.
Yep.
Okay.
But it's a 600 round. They do a full 600
Okay.
when they do that shoot.
And that's for qualifying?
That's for qualifying.
Okay.
That's for cool.
So in the senior or that I was in, you had to do the top 16. They only allowed 16 of us into the shoot down, so we had to qualify in the top 16 to
Okay.
advance into the shoot down.
All right.
Yeah.
So, getting back into that Vegas thing again, I think a lot of people from what we sell is we're not really doing much of target stuff here. I mean, a lot of what our clientele base here is simply hunting based. I mean, look around me, I may have 2 target bows total.
Sure.
And so the Vegas target, and just to kind of help clarify this a little bit for some people that may not know, is what you would think of as like a traditional archery target that you would see at your gym practice.
Yeah,
it's
it's
the
like the
blue, the yellow,
yep.
the red. It's
One
your,
big bale.
yeah, one big bale. It's for people that would think of like I almost say like a clip arty image of archery,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
That's
the generic
that's the generic
Yep.
blue, yellow,
Yeah.
red. So give people a better idea of kind of what that is. Now, you had mentioned the 600s and the 300s, and you had mentioned like shooting perfect scores or whatever, 330s.
Yeah.
So there's 10 rounds, 10 what we refer to as ends,
Ends.
but essentially that's just a round, if you
Yep.
will.
Yep.
Excuse me. And you're trying to shoot obviously nothing but 10s.
Yep.
Outside of that, you would have a 9 and 8,
Yep.
etc. until you're
Well,
off.
and you have the X in the middle,
And your
which
X.
at Lancaster is an 11.
And 11.
Yes.
So that's where you're getting that extra point for
Yes.
your
Mhm.
ends. So if we can, because you hear about shooting X's all the time, or
Mhm.
24X.
spots. Yep.
Andrew may get like a 10X in
Oh,
one
right.
day.
If I can break actually a 15X, I mean, I am going to go get dessert somewhere.
And
Like, that
essen-
was a miracle.
And essentially, what you're talking about when you say that is that, particularly like down in Lancaster, where you guys are shooting, Lancaster, Ohio, where you guys are shooting, you're just saying, I shot a 10, but I was also shooting an X.
Yes.
Okay. So just to give them an idea that, yeah, it was a 10, but it was even better than a 10 because
Right.
I was
It
like
was-
within a dime.
It was the
Yeah.
center of the 10.
And the
Yeah.
distance on this is 20 yards, correct?
Mhm.
20 yards exactly.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from
And
go ahead.
and I don't shoot competitively like these guys
Yes.
do, but I got into it. I mean, with our clientele of being a bunch of hunters,
Sure.
it was I wanted to put myself in stressful situations to make sure I don't miss on the game that we're trying to take.
Yeah.
So hopefully none of this conversation gets lost on if a hunter's listening to this, they're like, I don't shoot spots.
Very
Moving
good point.
on.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, so the reason I shoot spots is to better my hunting and give me that second nature
Yes.
and that confidence that you're not thinking about it. Everything that you've repetitively done on your shooting lane,
Yes.
when it comes to that, you've just done it so many times. You're
Yes.
confident with it. So
No,
I just wanted to make sure we got that
No,
out there real
I'm,
quick.
I'm glad you said that because that is a very good point. Yeah, if you're a hunter, and I'm kind of in the same boat philosophy too. What else am I going to be? The season just ended last weekend.
Yep.
What the hell else am I going to be doing right now that's going to keep that that drive or that passion, if you will, to perform? I mean, I could go shoot one of these block targets and not care.
Yeah.
But until I put myself in that stressful situation
With these guys.
where I'm
Yeah.
having 1,000 people stare at me, I'm the only person on the stage,
I mean, try 10.
or yeah,
Yeah.
or I'm trying to shoot Eric's arrow at a 3D, like what we
Yeah.
had talked about before.
Mhm.
That little bit of extra competitiveness,
Mhm.
and that edge, and that wanting to outside of competitive, I can't think of the word off the top of my head, but just that extra little bit of drive
I think it's like
to
an
get
iron
your heart
sharp-
rate, to get your heart rate
Yeah,
up,
and it's
kind
like
of
a little bit
pressure.
of pressure.
Yeah,
iron sharpens iron. I mean,
mm-hmm.
yeah, I might only be a low to mid 290 shooter, but you've told me before, like you guys shoot 300s.
Occasionally.
Well, I mean, I've never seen you guys not almost shoot a 300. But when I lined up next
like
to you,
299.
your comment to me is, make me beat you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so don't let it get in your head either. I mean, it's such
Yeah.
a mental challenge and a mental game that staying present with the shot
Mm-hmm.
and understanding all the parameters of that shot and then accomplishing it.
Sure.
And that's what helps me at hunting.
And form.
I mean,
Your form is critical.
yeah, you don't get to 300s with
bad form.
with shoddy form.
No.
At all.
No, not only that, and then even on the mental side of things, Kurt was talking earlier, Joel Turner, rightfully so, gets a lot of credit on a lot of those just practices that he teaches about surprise shot and stuff. And then you hear Kurt, who's been doing it for, I don't want to put too many years on you,
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah.
He's saying the kind of the same things, and so it's like, well,
It's
that's
been around.
It's
yeah,
been around.
It's just not been spoken.
So
So getting to Vegas.
yeah, let's get back to
Yes. So you've qualified. So you've shot 2 300 rounds, correct?
Yeah, at Lancaster.
At Lancaster, and then they take the top 16.
The top 16 in the senior class.
How do they divide out all of the individuals in your class to get to the top 16?
Well, they just take them, and they have a method that they take from high to low, and I take it as they fold it. And if you took the highest and the lowest in the first round.
Okay.
So I had to shoot against number 16
Oh,
because
yeah.
I qualified number 1 seed going into it.
Congratulations
I
on
was
that, by the way. That was
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I had enough points compared to the other guy that I was number 1. So the first time I think of it as a piece of paper, and you fold it. And
Okay.
The typical term.
And then
yeah.
it's a shoot down or like a shoot
that's,
up.
That's still a shoot down.
Okay.
So you're shooting, and you're still trying to find the final 4.
Okay.
So you'll stand out there, and you'll be lined up. They'll have you set up, and you go to this bale, and I'll shoot against this guy. There's 4 of us on there, and then the next 2 are below me on the bale, and they're shooting against each other. Well, the winners of the first 2 matches, and you only shoot 4 rounds of
So
3.
4 ends. Okay.
Yeah. So
12
you're
ends.
shooting those, and then whoever wins that, we stayed on the same bale and shot against. I shot against the winner
Okay.
of the other one.
Of the other guy.
And
So it weeds out pretty quickly.
Oh, I bet.
yes, yeah,
Sure.
and just
Field drops in half every round.
Yeah.
Every round. Okay.
Every
And
round.
so that's over 20 minutes. I mean, pretty
Yeah.
He
quickly.
goes
Yes.
pretty quick, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and then ended up I shot the other guy for the next chance to go on, and it was 8, and then it went, and I beat him, so I was one of the 4. So they take all of your points through the whole weekend. So my going to the qualifying round, and they took those points and the other ones, and that puts you into the final 4, and it lets you who is 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Because 4 and 3 is going to shoot against each other. Winner of that goes to 2,
2. Okay.
and the winner of that goes to the number 1. And I ended up with all my points. I ended up number 1, so
Okay.
I went into the finals as the number 1.
Almost like a buy, if you will.
Yeah.
If you're
So
thinking
you got
like,
3 buys almost
Yeah.
to
Like-
that shoot.
Yeah, he
like
gets to step
traditional.
in right
Yeah.
at the end.
Well, but there is a chance that a guy can get on a roll, and once he gets
He-
comfortable in there,
Oh yeah.
he can roll right in.
And so
And you see that a lot.
Yeah.
So when we see that, and so say everyone looks this up on YouTube, this is the 2 stages hitting the 2 targets under the lights.
Yeah,
This
I,
is
I call it standing on the box.
standing on the
Standing
box. So
on
this
the
is the
box.
championship, basically.
Yeah,
So,
oh, yeah.
And so you got to come out last,
Yes. So I
watch
was
the other guys shoot.
Yeah, well, yeah, and in that case, I was guaranteed a second.
Oh, okay.
First or
Yep.
second. So,
So
the
they're trying to
the
gain
guy that
spots.
was actually in second, when he walks out, he's guaranteed a second or a third
Sure.
if he went out right then.
Got it.
So it's kind of the better you shoot all day, the better you're going to be at the final four.
So you kind of make your check during the long part of the day.
Okay.
And then you get to that.
So it's like making it to Sunday on a golf. Golfing. Yeah.
And really, it seems to me like the first part of it is almost the easier part, the 600 round, because you don't know who you're shooting against. They're just this guy and every guy in a row.
And how many people are on that line when you're trying to do your qualifiers?
Oh, gosh.
There's got to be 300
on the line.
On the one side, yeah.
Jeez,
I mean, there's a lot.
And so, how? I mean, that can be stressful in itself. How close are you guys? I mean, it's your guys are. I mean, it's very tight quarters.
2-foot box.
Yeah, maybe.
It's
2 foot because it's a 4-foot target down there. So
he says it's easy to qualify on Saturday. Now,
well, no,
I've been 2 years,
that's the easier
and I haven't
part.
qualified for Saturday yet.
And this is coming
I can shoot fairly decent.
And this is coming from
clearly I'm not good enough to qualify yet. The nerves, I think, get me. I get over there. It's the environment.
Oh, sure, man.
Now, the event itself is super fun. So, it's worth the drive, it's worth the time, it's worth the money. Anyway, if you've never been.
And that's at Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Lancaster Archery Supply.
Yeah.
Which is obviously one of the bigger,
it's at the Spooky Nuke Sports Arena.
Yeah, Spooky Nuke.
Yeah. Now, Kurt, obviously, it's easy to qualify. He steps in there and does what he does. I mean, he's pounding. But I get over there and I get nervous. And to make Saturday is like, it's the one thing I want to do is to make Saturday. But to go in there and hold nerve and.
But yeah, I mean, you'd have to get nervous. I would get nervous. I mean, like you said, when we just go on Tuesdays and we're shooting against 10 people, in the back of my mind,
in there.
Yeah, in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, who's the person eating chips watching me? Why are they here?
Yeah.
Like, you're like, just let me shoot.
Yeah.
I don't want to, like,
how do you hear the conversation at the cash register? How do you even hear it? Why do you even know? Why am I listening to that?
You're like, my peep's twisted. Well, there's a shoot going on. Shut up. Like, let's get this over with.
Well, not to mention the fact that now you're at Lancaster and you have literally every single person's got a pro shooter jersey on. And
I mean, you got some big names.
You shoot 1-9 and you might as well go home.
And they put them on the bail with you. They do not separate the pros there.
Is it alphabetical?
I can't say for sure how they.
It's just random.
I don't know if it's. Yeah, it must be a random wheel.
I mean,
pull.
like literally imagine like us. Not obviously Kurt's on the senior class, but imagine like you shooting and Levi Morgan is sitting right next to you.
I'd pinch his butt.
You know what I mean? Like it's just like
I'm letting him get a clean break.
Every time he goes to release, he's like, "Oh, shoot!"
Yeah.
Well,
you'd have
to go back to that. I was in there practicing the other one of the days I had a practice going on.
Sure.
And Bodie Turner and Kyle Douglas were shooting on the same bail right next to me.
Had a conversation with them.
And just sit there and talk to them and this and that. And Kyle was, giving jabs to Bodie, and Bodie was giving him back. And they were talking.
So
and
you can do that
Kyle
when you're that good.
Kyle was talking to Joel, and he was right there. I mean, everybody's right there. You can be shooting at anything, and all of a sudden a pro will walk right up to you and start shooting right next to you.
And I think that's the cool thing of this indoor season or shooting the spots is it's very inclusive.
Yes.
It's very inviting of I don't know what many other sports realistically that you'd be on the line with a pro.
You're not shooting
and they're casually enjoying it.
You're not shooting 3 throws with LeBron. You know what I mean?
No,
like you're
no
not
chance.
But you can do do that with a Bodie or a Joel or Levi or whatever. Name your guy.
Kyle Douglas.
Like name your guy.
A lot of them are approachable at any time too.
Yeah,
social media.
Okay.
They would just sit there. If you had a question for them, they would. A lot of those guys are just that easy to. They were us. Or you guys years ago, younger guys and able to just, they're out there shooting and having fun, and they just do it professionally now.
Yeah. So let's get the word out.
Yeah. So
we talked about Vegas. He goes to the shoot down or the
he's at the shoot
Lancaster.
down.
Yeah. And
we wouldn't have had him on if he was on second.
We have the national champion.
So he wins. Yeah.
I ended up winning it. Yeah. Had a good round. Shot some 30 and 2s. And there they call them 32.
Yeah.
But it's a combined score of all 3 shots to make it. And
so that's 3 10s, 2 of the arrows.
Or 2 X's and a 9, for a 31.
So they're almost using that X as a bonus point.
Yeah. Okay. So you can get a little bit back, which there's a couple of shots I didn't make quite as well, but I had enough of the X.
How nervous were you? You come out of the tunnel.
Yeah.
and it's dark, right?
Yeah,
You
the
said
first-
you couldn't even see where you're going.
I was afraid of tripping.
Yeah,
That was
you
the
don't want
worst
to trip
thing.
over cables.
Yeah, yeah.
So you step out into this light,
And the guy sticks a
and
camera in
everybody's
your face.
looking at you, camera in your face.
Yeah,
And I mean, you've never been there before.
What
never
was your
been
pump
there.
up song?
You get on the stage.
Did you have a do you have
is
a
there an
pump up
entry
song?
song?
No, walk-up
Wish they
music?
should
No.
need
Yeah.
an entry music. Yeah.
They need some walk-up
Yeah, for
music,
sure.
like a baseball player.
What's your
Man.
favorite song? We're gonna get some walk up music for Tuesday.
I don't know how he did it, but he stands up there and stones the first one
I
inside
know.
out.
So I'm watching it on
and
YouTube.
I'm like, it's Kurt.
It
That's
is.
what he does.
You know?
know?
It was so cool. It's like my wife. I had to bring my wife into the living room. I'm like, you got to check this out. And she walks in. She's like, that's Kurt. Like I
Yep.
know who it is.
We had a watch
And it's
party
like-
at the bow shop, and I mean, when he hit that first one down the middle, I mean, the whole bow shop was, yeah, you know,
I mean,
we,
yeah,
thought, we thought he won it right there, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
It's a
It was just
bullseye,
the
he
first
wins.
arrow.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
it.
you draw, and it was as steady as a rock. So what's your thought process? What's going through your head?
No, you got to keep everything right there, like I was telling you earlier, in the front of your mind. You have
Okay.
to, like the Joel Turner thing. There's a lot of that going on, but it's what you build up through the years of what works for you.
Okay.
You just think, well, and I even told these guys, I said, it's like having tunnel vision.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take everything out of the equation
Yeah.
except for that target and just looking at it and saying to yourself, what do I do, the best when I'm target shooting?
Mm-hmm.
And it could be the same thing as when you're hunting, like you were talking about before. You're looking at a burr right there on the side of that deer,
Yeah.
and that little burr is what I want to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, to me, I'm bringing it in there, and I'm wanting to hit just that, and it's almost like it's right there, and it's gone.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
there's really not much more but just that thought of what you're doing and how to accomplish it.
It's just
But-
being
You know,
present in the
Yeah,
shot.
and there's
Yeah.
one thing I've always wanted to do more research on. You hear this a lot with a lot of high-end or like high-performing athletes is that flow state.
Mm.
Like I'm sure you've heard that. It's
Yep.
like you just get into this.
Because I'm a high end athlete.
Yeah, when you're trying to be like
You
one.
are, Andrew.
Never confuse him with the high-end athlete. But like there's a real thing with this like this flow state and this like your out of body experience almost at that point. Like you're just so ingrained in what you're doing that it's you're completely separate and you're just going through the motions and people get into this state. I think I heard it with like surfers or something where it's just like
Oh.
you're just continuing
Mm-hmm.
like you're on the pipe, you know exactly what you need to do. You're just doing it. You're like you can almost step back and watch yourself do it because you're like in that right mental
Different
mindset.
dimension.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone there can shoot a bow. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
it's all between your ears.
Yeah.
Sure.
It is.
Everyone's got the form. You don't get in the Final Four if you have bad form. You're
I mean,
not even
a
in 16.
A lot
with
of
bad
people
form.
don't drive to Lancaster, Pennsylvania,
If you
or
got
fly to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, unless
Oh,
they
sure.
think they've got
a chance.
a chance or they're practiced and proficient enough to
Yeah.
go do
They're-
it.
I
You're
mean,
not going
and
to
to
pick up a
rank
bow the first
themselves.
time it's ahead.
No.
Let's
Yeah,
go
you're
Lancaster,
trying to
you know.
rank yourself nationally.
Sure. Yeah, you see where you're at.
It's exactly. Where are you at? How good can I shoot
Yeah.
under pressure?
Mm-hmm.
And can I be top 100? Can I be
Right.
a winner? Like
Right.
it's like it is. It's a
tough.
pride thing and it's a tough thing.
So which class? Let's make sure. I want to spell it out because we were all kind of congratulating you there when he announced it. So Lancaster Archery Senior Open,
Yeah.
the Senior Open national winner.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I give people just a really good idea of.
Yeah.
And he lives right down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So
You
it's
can shoot with them on Tuesdays.
yeah, you can shoot with
You
him on
can.
Tuesday. And
He'll
pick
take
a-
your money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He'll take your
Yeah,
money.
stop into Fairfield Outdoors and me and Eric will be there on Tuesdays.
Yep.
and-
Hey, don't. I mean,
I'll be
I
making
show
my
up.
donation.
I'm usually snacking.
Make your donation, right?
We
I just
donate.
come there to
Yeah.
try to hit Andrew's
Well, and-
arrows.
Yeah.
And a lot of people talk about it, and things like that. But if it wasn't really for the group of guys you shoot with on an everyday basis, it kind of happens, that you would only bring yourself up to whatever you need to be there.
Yeah.
And you have to shoot with a bunch of guys that are trying to beat you every
Yes.
day. Like you were talking, and Eric said,
It's really what brings you back.
make me beat you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
So you're out there doing that. So I also have to give credit to the
Yeah.
guys that I shoot with every weekend down to Jackson, Ohio, and I shoot against them guys, and if you don't need to shoot that well, sometimes you won't. But these guys, no, I won't hold anything back, and they won't hold anything back because they don't want to get beat by an old guy.
Oh yeah,
It's getting old. I'm telling you that. I'm tired of donating money.
well, I'm glad he said that too, because I'm kind of a I'm really into like collegiate wrestling, like Ohio State, Penn State, and everyone knows Kyle Snyder. He's the Olympian gold medalist, and he had a quote where he left Ohio State and went to pursue a career in Penn State, which in that aspect is like rivals, right? Just to get himself better. He's like, iron sharpens iron is never more true. It's like you have to be with people that can beat you at any day, because it's only going to elevate your game even that much further.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, when I started in the off season taking practice seriously and showing up to the shop, with a hunting bow, I shot a 280, I was pumped. And then all of a sudden you start looking at everyone's score and you're like, yep, I got a lot to improve on. And then all it has done over the past couple of years, and I think it's been 3 seasons now for me, for me to say, a mid 290s and maybe a high 90s.
So how does that translate to the tree stand? So you've came in, so you're a big time deer hunter, right?
Yeah.
And you come in and you shoot competition with us. And you shoot some 3D and you shoot spots. So have you seen the improvements from when you're in the tree and you're trying to stay collected? You got a big deer in front of you or on its way in, and you've got to make that one shot. You're not dumping a quiver of arrows downrange.
Yeah, you get one shot, one chance.
So has that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things where like you'd be in the stand and sometimes you have all these things like racing through your head. You're like, okay, I got to get it drawn. I got to focus on this. I got to do this. But your list is so long trying to achieve getting the buck that you messed up before it's already walking away, or like you had too many things to think of to even process it. Now with being able to do this target practice and shoot these Vegas shoots, one big chunk of the arrow and the bow, I don't even think about.
It just happens.
It's just that just happens now, which is great, and it's been super. It gives you so much confidence of you can see it coming, and like instead of needing a 6-foot window between trees or whatnot, you're seeing it come, and you're like, actually, if he pauses here, I can put that arrow between the 6 inches. And you don't even think about it. Yeah, you don't even think about it. You get drawn, and the repetition of those Vegas shoots when you're putting in 100 arrows in a night. When I used to practice just for myself, I would only, maybe 10, 20 arrows 3 times a week. And I'm like, I'm a proficient hunter.
Right.
Yeah. You're like, I am a good hunter.
But even that is more than most people give it.
Yeah, and that's not even fair to the animal at that point. And now I really think I'm going in mano-a-mano, super fair, giving the animal its credit and what it's worth to me, and being as good as I can possibly be to as humanely and quickly take that game. And you don't now.
That's
I'm in the stand.
Perspective. It really is.
Now I'm in the stand, and I'm when something comes in. That part of the process, I'm not even thinking about. All I'm thinking of is picking the spot of the deer. If it's a burr or that flick of hair in this location, if he's staying quartering to, wait till he turns broad, or quartering away, let him pass. I'm confident enough now to like let him come into the picture, out of the picture, and I can pick that smaller gap out of the picture on a quartering away kill shot. And it's just so much easier.
Did it extend your shot, from like 20 yards to 30 yards?
It can.
Do you have more confidence at that extra 5 or 10 yards that you
absolutely.
need to go?
Yeah. You would. I think most guys would say 40 and in, but realistically, I don't know if I've ever actually taken a deer further than 25, just in the spots that I hunt.
Yeah.
But if I had an opportunity to hunt a field edge and the deer was at like 45, not even knowing I was there, perfect wind, I probably wouldn't even think twice. I'd put it right in its.
Well, and I think going back to the fact that doing what we do a lot of too, like we just had Justin Ross on, shooting those 3D courses. Eric can attest to this as well too.
Yeah,
when you're shooting an ASA 50 known, I mean, that's a poke, man. Especially like when we were together. You guys may have seen some clips. Ben and I went with you to the Muskingum University Archery
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so,
it was a lot of fun.
And that first shot was wide open field.
Yeah.
What was that been, like a bison or buffalo or something like that, I want to say.
There was a solid breeze.
And it was a solid
Across the
breeze,
rolling
cross
hills.
breeze, rolling
Yeah.
hill.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I feel like shooting, again, man, it all comes back to if you practice.
Building
people that
confidence.
pick up these bows behind us don't give it nearly as much time as they really should. I mean, I don't care if you're shooting 15 yards to a corn pile. You still need to be able to shoot. And you need, and Ben and I talk about it all the time, the animal deserves that respect for you to send 15 arrows downrange once, even once a week.
Right.
And it's like knowing, because I went through that this year with the target panic, as you know. And that video actually just released with Noah. And, to put myself back in that situation, it's like I go to the shop and I'll shoot a 3D and I'm doing like 212, 215. Like that's my hunting bow 3D.
Yeah, and the way they
that's
score
pretty
that, it's
respectable.
20 targets.
It's 20 targets, and I'm shooting, not really going for 14s or anything.
Right. Looking
So
to put
Yeah,
it
you're
in
just going for the
kill
10
spot.
ring.
looking
a
for
kill
kills.
spot.
Exactly. A 200 is a very solid day. And, when you miss the deer at 15 yards because you're panicked, or you miss, that buck that walks by that would have been awesome to have at 22 because you were panicked and you sent it over his back, and then you turn around and you go shoot these courses. It's just like, man, like, did I practice enough?
No,
Right.
you
Yeah.
didn't. It's because
Apparently
you
not.
didn't deal with your nerves on the line through the week.
That's the thing.
You
I
hear
could
that
shoot-
out of a lot
I
of
could
hunters.
I could shoot a bow all the way across this building and hit what I want to hit, but when it comes to pressure cooker time,
Yeah.
that's when the difference is.
Yeah,
And so
you hear
going
that out
through-
of a lot of deer hunters. They, they say, well, I got a target bag. I set it in the yard. I got sighted in. I'm good. I don't need to come in there. Well, you pressure your shot and see if it still performs. And then, why do we shoot 3D? Well, they got the kill rings, right? And they put them right in the kill zone. That's where you should shoot. So that repetition of shooting 3D, no matter what target they put out there, they, put them rings in a spot where you're supposed to shoot the animal in general.
In general, yep.
So as you shoot those targets, you build that repetition, that silhouette. So when you're in the woods and you're in a tree stand, you have that deer, whatever you're hunting, walks in. It's just kind of second nature to where you go.
Yeah, you're naturally
Yes.
drawn to that
Yep.
part of the animal.
Yeah, so and that's the reps you really want. Practicing not just a target bag. It's okay to be able to hit a dot, but you get out there in the woods and an animal's not walking around with a dot on it.
And it's
Yeah,
not
exactly.
well lit.
It's not
Yeah,
well. It's not
true,
well lit.
yeah.
And the other thing to think about too is that your footing, you're not standing on the stage like Kurt was, where it's flat, level ground.
Right.
I mean,
all the elements come in.
the
wind,
elements come in. You got downhill, uphills, wind.
sun's in your eyes. You got
exactly.
a light breeze cross.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So the ASA, if you want to transition into that, or you want to keep going into the Lancaster stuff, that'd be.
I think there was one last thing,
Yeah.
and it was when you're to let everyone know when you're dealing with the pressure. You said staying present.
Yep.
Yeah.
In front of your mind.
Yep.
Do you have a mantra like when you get ready to draw or you put that arrow, knock that arrow? Is there
No,
is there
I've
something that you 4 things that you think through?
Well, in a way, but it's, after a while you kind of get used to some of it. You don't have to bring it up as much.
Okay.
So, a lot of people, they'll want to rush into the shot. And I keep telling myself slow and just waiting for it slow. And then, I shoot a thumb release by stands and I'm putting so much pressure. I just put a light amount of pressure to start. And as I'm dropping into it, I feel myself getting into where I want to be. I put more pressure on my thumb release. So I'm constantly always saying that, pressure, slow, pressure. And those are the 2 key things that I'm working on to bring it right there as I stop in the center, and then it'll break.
And then it pulls through.
Because I've went through that pressure and I'm pushing and a little bit more, and it gets to be a little rhythm. So it's kind of timing too. So
for you.
a lot of guys like Eric, we've shot together so much. I can watch Eric, and as he comes down, if he has a problem, it may be only a half a second or a second longer. I could tell if he wasn't holding just right.
Okay.
And Eric can probably, by shooting next to me, he sees the same thing. So, and he even made the comment whenever I was on the stage, my whole timing that I was going through was just like at Fairfield Outdoors.
It was. You could almost I was thinking about it. I was like, you could almost start a stopwatch and then hit the stopwatch, and it was every shot, boom.
Yeah.
And that's how comfortable you were.
And that's what you do for, for the target
That's
shooting.
tough to do.
And so, and there again, it's that way, if you wanted to go to 3D shooting. Now, it's not so much if you're hunting, because there's, like you said, that window of opportunity.
Yeah.
So you may have to rush your shot a little bit more. That's just part of what you do.
And I'm glad you kind of touched on that too, because I was having trouble with that hinge release.
Yeah.
In a hunting situation, in spots, it's perfect because I can just break it.
Surprise shot.
I'm my own stopwatch, right? I don't have to wait for the deer. And I think that was a lot of reasons when I switched to the thumb when we were at TAC, my groups went whoosh,
Really?
60, 70-yard shots, and they tightened up by like a foot. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? And it's like the release, man. Like it's all that.
You gotta
that
find what
situational.
works for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And not everything, there's not one answer.
Yeah.
And so it's
a different answer for every situation.
because you shoot a hinge, and that's a motion of kind of rolling through the shot,
there's
which
a couple
releases a
techniques,
sear, right?
Yep.
Or loosening your hand, and it kind of, and then you shoot a button, and I shoot a button.
Yeah.
And
I
so,
shoot a button now
yeah,
too as well.
and then you have, like, a lot of hunters will still do the wrist, but so there's not one right answer for it, but it's just learning your shot, coming up with a mantra or a cadence, and then practicing that on repeat.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, those repetitions on repeat is
And I
what
think,
accomplishes it. And it helps me be so much more comfortable in the woods.
Hey everyone, we need to take a quick break from the conversation to let you know about a few events that we're hosting this weekend. It all starts this Friday with our 21st annual in-house boat and fishing show. Stop in and hear from some pro anglers and check out all the great deals that we'll have to get you stocked up for the upcoming fishing and boating seasons. Maybe predator hunting is your thing. Friday also kicks off our 7th annual coyote tournament. Team registration cost is $120, with $20 of that going to help support our friends at the American Hero Hunt. Weigh-ins will be this Sunday at our Hebron location at 2 p.m. And finally, we're also hosting our Buckmaster scoring event for our 6th annual Big Buck contest. So if you still need to get your buck scored by a Buckmaster's official scorer, you can stop into our Hebron or Lebanon locations on Saturday the 25th or Sunday the 26th to have any shed or rack scored for just $15. But remember, only 2022 season harvest will be entered into our contest. This year, we're excited to announce the hunter with the largest archery whitetail will win a Predator Talon 750 e-bike, and top winners from each category will win a $500 Vance Outdoors gift card. Thanks, everyone. Now let's get back into the conversation.
So, Eric, you're accomplished.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, you are. What is it? You got belt buckles, right?
I've got a couple. Yeah, one of them that I earned really well. I worked really hard for is in the 40-yard class, judging distance.
Okay.
And I don't remember what year it is now. I'm going to draw a blank on that, but I practiced hard and I shot a lot. And the competition was fairly strong in the judging class that year. It hasn't been in recent years.
And when you say a judging class,
so it's unknown.
Yeah.
So when you step up to the stake, you have to.
He's shooting unknown.
You have to get. Well, I'm not now. I shoot K50 now.
Okay.
A lot of people are moving away from the unknown classes.
I think so too.
But that's okay. Technology. We have rangefinders now, right? Deer hunters hunt with rangefinders.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was judging that year, and I practiced, and it was a long, tough year. There was a lot of close shoots, and I ended up coming out on top. The state was a lot of fun, and then I won the Open 50 class, or it would be Open 50, the unknown judging class. Now I've moved to the K50 since in the last 3 years, and I have not won that yet.
Do you find
they are a pile of shooters in that class.
I was going to say, with the unknown. And I think we had Craig, I don't remember what episode that was, but we had Craig Holycross, pro staff member here. And he's
good guy.
Muskingum University archery coach, and he shoots unknown as well. I think he won his state title.
He's with Prime.
Yeah, he's with Prime. He's a good dude.
Good
shout out
guy,
Craig. We're actually going to see him Wednesday. We're
going to all this is it's a bunch of archery talk.
I'm going to use all of Kurt's stuff to beat up on those Muskingum archers on Wednesday. But But yeah, he mentioned that same thing. You see a lot more people switching to the known
Mhm.
because they want to have a good time.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And that unknown, man, I don't know how you guys
It's
do
tough.
it.
So
One-
when it's
can be tough.
unknown, is it always 50 yards, or is it
No.
plus or minus, or can it be 10 to 50?
Yeah, so it can be 0 to 50.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they can put it right in front of you at your feet or
Yeah.
out to a max of 50 yards. I think there's a plus minus on it. I don't remember what it is. But they can mess with you a little
Yeah,
bit.
they can
Yeah.
go over a little bit. If
And
But
change
yes.
the target size, and that really messes with your.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they
Your
like to do
distance.
all kinds of things. You'll walk out there and you might see a target that's on the other side of a creek bed, or you might see a target that's down a hill or up on an off-camber hill behind a couple of trees, and they'll give you just a little shooting window to get there. And so they like to mess with your feet,
Yeah.
get you
Yeah.
off balance.
Yep.
You'll see a lot of guys struggle where they shoot really well indoors
Yeah,
on spots,
sure.
and then they get outside and they struggle a little bit on 3D because of that.
Yeah.
All the elements come in,
Yep.
with the sun, the
Sure.
wind, and everything.
Realism.
Mainly the
Or you-
footing, I think.
Yeah.
Realism.
Or you got a guy like, not to mention Levi again, but you got a guy like Levi who's polar
Mm-hmm.
opposite. I don't think anyone can beat him outside.
He
And
is
then-
incredible.
and
Yeah.
then-
Yeah.
I mean, human rangefinder.
But then you bring him inside. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
I mean-
good inside,
but he's
Sure.
not-
Still beats me every day, all day.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, sure.
yeah, but if you look at the world top spot shooters, they are
Like Dan
they're
McCarthy,
phenomenal.
Dan McCarthy
Yes.
and all those guys.
And I think a lot of them, that's about all they do is indoor.
Yeah.
I think they shoot some outside, but it's
I
not
think
like
it's just
3D.
Yeah, it's just to continue some practice.
You'll see guys that do everything though. The Kyle Douglases, they do everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
3D spots.
Does Jesse Broadwater do both?
I
Or is he
believe
just-
so. Yeah.
Does he do both? Because I don't know. He seems like he's a little bit better at spots. Not to.
Oh, he's real good at
but-
spots.
yeah.
He's not with Matthews.
I think that's
though.
where he
No,
made
Hoyt.
he made
He
his
just switched to Hoyt,
mark.
right?
Mhm.
I think it's where he's made his mark.
Yeah.
Oh, in spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to dive into that a little bit more because that I think is something not everyone's going to be Kurt and go to Lancaster Archery.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it takes a lot of practice to get to that point. But what everyone can do, especially our audience that lives right here in Central Ohio or in Ohio in general,
Mm-hmm.
I want to keep talking about the Ohio ASA,
Okay.
which I mean that's kind of where
It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun, and so you mentioned unknown. So again, you're guessing that range, whether it's downhill or uphill, or in a creek bed or whatever, and then you have the known, where you can actually range find it. You know how far it is. You're gonna dial that up. You can imagine, man. Like unknown, like 1 yard
It
difference.
changes. Yeah.
1 yard makes a big difference.
Well, when you mess it up, it's not 1 yard. It's usually like 7.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
right.
you can mess up. You can mess up big, and you mess up little. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's dive in a little bit more. Like, how did you get your first introduction into just shooting ASA? Because you shoot with your wife too, right?
I
She
do.
Shoots, she
yeah,
shoots, and then-
Maggie. She shoots ASA. She does it just. She said, if you ask her, she says she does it just so she can see me on the weekends. But
For the exercise.
Yes.
yeah. So I got into ASA. My story into 3D period was just, again, like I said at the beginning, is I was a really bad bow hunter. I mean,
Yeah.
a buddy of mine got me into hunting deer, and I took a bow and I went in the woods, and I think I was 0 for 5 or something on deer.
0
I
for
found a way to
5.
find deer, but hitting the deer, that was the struggle.
So I
You hit a lot
don't,
of
feel, I don't
trees?
feel so bad.
Yeah, did you
Yeah,
hit a lot of
no, it
trees?
was bad. It was really it wasn't trees. I mean, it was dirt, sky. I mean, it was everything. It was so bad. I had target panic like you've never seen. I had no idea. I mean, I was oblivious. Buddy says, Eric, we're gonna go shoot some 3D, buddy.
Yeah.
Come on.
Sat you down.
And I said, I don't know what 3D is, but sure, sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
So we show. He drags me out to which is now Performance, but it was Broken Arrow at the
Broken
time.
Arrow,
They're
yeah.
having a 3D shoot. Now I'm a teenager. I don't know what's going on. I pull up, field full of trucks, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening, but this looks like a good time.
Yeah.
So we get out. We
It's like-
walk
it's like a
down
truck
there.
pull.
There's 30 at the time. That
Yep.
year. So I don't know what this would be. I'd been a teenager, but there was still a big turnout of just club shoots.
Yeah.
So I go down there and we get signed up. He gives me my card. We get warmed up on the bags. And I get this little bit of excitement. Like, what is happening right
Yeah,
now?
the
Like
jitters.
people are competing
Yeah.
and shooting bows. I thought this was hunting implement only.
Yeah.
Competition. I had no idea. So we get in this group and we go in the woods. And we go on this walk through the woods, and it was a trail hike, and we're shooting these foam 3D targets that are set in realistic hunting scenarios.
Yeah.
And the excitement starts to build in me.
All
And
right.
I'm like, man, this is incredible. As
so
a
much-
teenager, I'd never experienced this
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
So we shoot the day, and of course I was bad, but I had so much fun, and my buddy, he beat me like a drum, and he wouldn't let that go. So I went home, and I thought, I'll get him. And I got a target bag, and I started shooting.
Yeah.
here we go.
And then, yeah.
Shooting and shooting and shooting. We go to the next one. I call him up and said, dude, we're doing another one. I got you.
So you
this
just looked
time."
him up.
Yeah. So we started driving all over Ohio looking for any kind of club
Sure.
shoot we could get
Okay.
into. And he beat me like a drum every time. And I quickly realized that I didn't know how far away these targets was. And I didn't realize that even mattered.
Yeah.
Until I started losing arrows and putting them in the dirt, you know. I said, all right, now I got to figure out the difference between 20 and 30 yards.
Yeah.
Shooting a hunting bow, you
Yeah.
know. And so fast forward a few years, and I get married. And I kind of gave up archery for a while, but I got married and settled down, got my crazy days behind me, and realized that, you know, archery was not only super fun to do, but it was a good, clean hobby.
Yeah, it's wholesome.
It is.
It
Yeah.
is, you know, whole family hobby.
Sure. 100%.
And I wanted something more than just a club shoot. Like,
Okay.
I like
Yeah.
to go to club shoots. I'm a competitive person. I like to compete.
Yeah.
I want to be better than you,
Yeah.
right? You want to be better than me. As men, we want to compete.
Yeah.
We want to beat the next guy.
That's why I turn your sights when you set your bow down.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the dirty tricks, all of it, right?
I knew something was wrong with him,
So
Ben.
I know, right? So, you know, we got to looking around and realized that the ASA was coming to Ohio this year or that year, and that this was going to be a season-long thing,
Okay.
and there was going to be a handful of qualifiers, and they were going to keep track of your score all year long, and then you were going to be qualified to not only shoot the state championship shoot, but also be in contention for a Shooter of the Year award.
Sure.
Oh,
And that was super exciting for me.
something
you
to work
know.
towards.
Yeah, something to work
Yep.
towards, and it's proven to keep a bow in my hand year round.
Yeah.
So, and then we decided to go. I think we went to the first one. Was it out at the club? What is it? Help me out, Kurt.
The ranch up there.
The
north?
club where we shoot at
Coon hunters.
Coon Hunters.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
gotcha.
Coon hunters, yeah.
Yeah, so they had the very
in
first
in
Ohio
Carroll.
ASA there.
Yes.
In Carroll,
Carroll, Carroll,
yeah,
right.
outside Lancaster there.
Yeah.
So they had the first ever ASA Ohio there.
Okay.
And there was probably, I think they said 260 signed up shooters. And for a small club like that,
Yeah,
that's
that's a lot of people.
That's trucks pulling in the parking lot.
Oh, for
so,
sure.
you know, they managed it. We went. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I fell in love immediately. And ever since then, it's we've done it every year. So
Yeah, and
Okay.
you guys run that Facebook page too, right? The Buckeye.
yeah, Buckeye Bow Shooters.
Buckeye Bow Shooters.
Yeah, we try to help keep everybody current on
what's going
you know
on.
local shoots. It
Yep.
gives a place for other club members to advertise their shoots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like dates and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
sure.
So
And
when's the time of year? When's the season?
Coming up.
it is? I think everything starts in March. Doesn't
March,
it? It
yeah.
depends on
Yep.
the
In-
organization. I know IBO like nationally starts pretty early. They do like winter nationals and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
for the ASA, it'll start in March, and they
Yeah.
they
And
have
it's
4
every,
shoots.
Yeah, every weekend in March. Yeah, it starts out. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I'll tell you
Now,
what.
do they
those-
have different classes of like? I know there's different distances, but do they have like a?
Yeah.
Guys can show up with a hunting bow.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Just
100%.
no broadheads.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great question. There is a lot.
Probably
of classes.
75% of them are in the hunting bow.
Most of them are. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
ASA does attract a lot of target shooters because of the known yardage.
Yeah.
So basically it's split. You have known and unknown.
Yeah.
And you'll hear people refer to it as K50,
Yeah.
K40.
K50, K40.
So there's a class for everybody. I mean, any skill level, any
K40 is-
family. You can
40
bring
is
your whole
pretty
family
popular,
out.
right?
It is very popular.
K40. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the target shooters.
And what they do? Have you been to one?
No. Yeah,
So-
I was getting ready to ask, what's
well,
the
so-
least popular class? maybe I'll,
Unknown.
I'll enter
Unknown.
that one.
Barebow, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Might better my odds.
Well, and just to kind of paint the picture a little bit too, just because we sponsored that ASA qualifier at Muskingum. So let's say you have your target down there, you know, your 50-yard, your K50. Well, there's stakes every so often, and so that designates every class, right?
Yep.
So you'll see similar to
Oh, so it's everyone
you get a
uses
little
the
bit
same
close.
target.
You're
but
using
then,
the same target, but there's a blue stake all the way down here, and
Okay.
you may be shooting on the red stake,
Okay.
or everyone might be combined
so
together.
it's one
Yeah.
course.
There
It's
might
one
even
course.
there might
Yep.
even be three
Yes.
different ones using the blue stake.
Yes.
It may be the bow hunter this class, but it might be the traditional class.
Yes.
Is blue also.
Okay.
So numerous ones will be on its same color
So
stake.
yeah, so it's almost like a golf course, and you're just going for a
Yeah,
hike.
that's a
and
great
go-
that's a great
like,
explanation.
Because you get
Yeah.
the different tees.
I never
Yeah.
thought about that, but
Absolutely,
that's a
yeah.
perfect
Yeah,
that's
it
a
is
perfect
good.
analogy for somebody. Yeah, it's like Andrew, you'd be shooting off the ladies' tees.
Yeah. Well, man, that's kind of messed up. What happens if, if you're shooting off like the champion tees and you
Yeah,
hit a
that's
tree?
the-
Do you still have to go? You didn't get the ball past the women's tee
Yeah.
protocol.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, it's tough.
Well, and to designate too, so we say hunting bow, and I'm not. There's certainly people there that are picking up an RX-7 and shooting an RX-7 with a 5-pin sight, but you can also shoot your tradition, like your quote unquote target bow per se, without the sights, right? Is that
Sure.
what it kind of boils down to? So
There's
we
limitations,
can get
regulations.
we can get pretty heavy into like the rules of this in terms of how far your stab is, or what kind of stab you're using, and what kind of sights, clarifiers, magnification. And all that
Anybody
stuff.
can help you with that. If you're setting up a bow at any bow shop, almost standard across the board, they know the general rules.
Okay.
If you're wanting to do any kind of ASA shoot, IBO shoot, even now club level, typically it's bring what you shoot. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
But if you want to get into the ASA, just about every bow shop in Ohio can give you some general guidance on that.
Or put you in the right direction pretty
Yep.
easily and quickly.
Especially that one right behind you.
Yeah.
And I always have a theory. They call them target bows or hunting bows.
Sure.
It's a bow.
Yeah.
It could for you. It may be instead of being a 40-inch axle to axle, it's a 36.
Sure.
You shoot it better than you would a 40.
Yeah.
So to me, a bow, it doesn't command what you do with it. It shoots an arrow.
Oh, yeah.
and,
It's a tool.
and how you set it up is basically what you're going to use it for.
Yeah, and see, I'm glad you said that because this year too, we both went 33 on the V3X.
Does that help? I mean, I don't even
And so I went with that V3X this year from a smaller axle bow from the previous year, mainly because I'm like, it's a good all-purpose. If I want to compete with the guys that are shooting 36, 38s, and 40s, my bow is almost equally as tall as those. And so if I outfit
larger cam.
if I outfit it correctly, I'll be able to be very comparable. But at the same time, if I want to be hunting with it, I can still hunt with it as
Yes.
well. So,
Yeah.
And just all those bow parameters, it's all that's trying to do is just hold, helping you steady hold.
Yeah.
More forgiveness.
Yeah.
So when you get those brace heights and the axle to axle measurements, all that's doing is just fine tuning it for stabilization and accuracy.
Yeah,
Correct?
and for you.
And
And
a
you
personal
could have
fit.
two people the same size, and it wouldn't be the same bow each one of them like.
Okay.
That's why you have all these different bows and bow manufacturers.
Yeah.
Because what I use for spots or what I use for hunting or 3D is close to the same, but they're a little different,
Okay.
and that's just the way I use it. But there again,
Good.
everybody's a little different.
yeah, and then we can. Going down this rabbit hole too. We tell people a lot all the time. It's like, yeah, Michael Waddell sells a bone collector bow, and you may want to buy that because you like Michael Waddell, or Levi or Chris B sells a Matthews, and you want to be popular like that. But at the end of the day, these bows are so damn close
Oh,
that if you just close your eyes and shot 5 of them, I guarantee you
They're
wouldn't be
nice.
able to tell a difference between them.
Mhm.
they're nice.
And so you just got to kind of find what fits you.
Just what fits well in your hand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
And-
put
Or
the
what looks
brand
the
name
best.
aside.
A brand name aside, exactly.
Yeah.
It's whatever. And when I bought my last bow, I was shooting one manufacturer, and somebody finally made a bow the way I liked it.
Yeah.
I seen these different parameters that I wanted, and I just bought it. It was what I was looking for.
Sure.
And not to say that somebody else didn't have one close, but there was just a couple of things that I was looking for that special bow. And mine basically was for a target shoot.
Sure.
And that's what I needed, and I picked it right up.
For a target bow, how often do you guys switch your bows? Do you have to switch every year to get better, or can you?
Eric's like, I got a bow problem.
Yeah. Or
I like
can
bows.
you? Or could you technically have a bow and just get comfortable with it and learn that bow and get
That's
better and
ideal.
better every year?
That's ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you
Truthfully, it
can,
is.
but there's one that's going to come out that's going to have the parameters that you want.
That you're
Maybe
searching for.
the wider limb pockets, the let-off adjustability, the things like that you can do, the brace height, those few things. And all of a sudden they'll come out with one, ooh, this has got a little wider limb pocket, it'll help me hold. So you may change then, but then it might be 4 years, 5
Something
years,
else.
whatever. And it's up to you to make
Okay.
that decision.
But
know,
you got to know
what you like.
what you like.
Yeah.
And starting just to
And,
shoot.
and then there's guys
repetitively shoot.
that don't know what they like and they buy a new one every year.
Yeah.
Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it makes it, that's funny too, because you always see every year, bow manufacturers, and I get it. I love it. Like, I love seeing all the new tech
new
every
tech,
year.
yeah.
Like,
It's
that's
cool.
that's what we do. That's what we do. That's what Ben and I, we're always wanting to see these bows. That's what we sell.
Yep.
But then you see, like, I shoot a Matthews bow,
Mhm.
and just not for any reason outside. That's just what I picked up. They haven't changed a target bow since I've gotten into archery. I mean,
There's
if they
only
have, it's
Gen
been
2 of the
been
TRX, right?
Little, it's
Yeah.
been little small minute changes from like a Gen 2 TRX 38. It's like, man, like, you see all these other companies changing
Yeah.
bows and stuff, and it's like, no, they haven't changed at all.
Yeah, they just keep building off that TRX platform.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's like, to go back to that point, as a normal, I'm gonna call him privateer, a guy that's using his own money and not being sponsored by another bow company. Find what works for you, regardless of what it is,
Mm-hmm.
And just
hunting
stick
or
with it.
target, and stick with it.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep.
develop a
And you
pattern and a rhythm with it.
Yeah, a rhythm. And then you can still fine tune off of that. I mean, certain sights will show up different for each individual's eyes.
Yeah,
Fiber color or dots especially if you're shooting spots, you'll put a dot on your lens so it's, there's so much fine tuning to get you more and more comfortable.
Yeah.
I know for me, like on the hunting bow, it was just, yes, it's a hunting bow, but removing the grip and putting tape on it, it just sat in my hand left and right better. It allowed me to grab it and it just settled in quicker.
I take that brand new bow that I bought, and before I ever even shot it, I took epoxy and epoxied on my handle. Brand new bow, never been shot. And I will get epoxy out and mix it up and put it in the handle because I know what I'd like to feel before I ever shot it. And I'll get it all set in there. I'll take sandpaper, sand it out just how I want to feel, wrap it with tape.
And now, are you thickening it or widening it with that epoxy?
I'm narrowing it
So
to a feel that fits right
in there,
right down my lifeline of my hand. So, yeah, I brand new bow. I don't, it is,
there goes the resale.
well, yeah.
well, but I do it, yeah. Well, and then it is what it is.
Well, now that he's got the national champion,
Yeah, he'll be
he'll
able-
sell
yeah.
whatever he wants.
Actually, I'm going to buy Kurt's
We're gonna,
bow.
Well,
Kurt
you-
should come out with a grip.
And there again, like my release, I bought that one release off of you.
I know, and
I showed it to you afterwards, and where I have
didn't
to
look like it mine anymore.
Yeah, well, I put epoxy in them to get the feel that I want to have in that release. So.
I got so pumped, and then you corrected me. I lied to my wife. I saw that release
in my hand
on the stage, and I'm like, he won because that was my release. And
It wasn't.
No, it
Rachel's
was
just
a
like,
spare.
Shut up, Andrew.
Yeah.
It was the backup in my quiver though.
Yeah.
It
love
was his was.
She's
so.
like, you ding dong. Why are you confident in that?
I'm kind of geeking out right now on the gear talk. Let's hit the gear talk, and then we'll see what these guys got coming up in the future. But starting with Kurt, because he does have national champion in his title. Let's just run through. Not that, like we said, there's a bow for every person. Your setup's not going to be exactly what other people are using. But what is your setup right now from peep to field point?
I use just the what is it?
Let's start off with your bow. What
As
bow?
a PSC, RTX is one I'm shooting right now.
Okay.
And I just bought for 3D, when I start my 3D season, I bought I can't even hardly remember what it is now. The PSC.
Was it the Dominator that
Dominator
you were talking
Dual,
about? Yeah,
yes.
I was going to say, I remember you telling me earlier.
Yeah,
today,
so
the
it's a Dominator Dual, and I just use it because they have the new M2 cam.
Sure.
I was able to go and shoot the M2 cam, which is really good. So it's a lot of speed for guys like me. I don't draw I just draw barely 50 pounds.
Okay.
48 pounds is where I like to be on my shot. So a lot of people don't have the options, and I find one that has that option, and I can still shoot 280s with
that's good speed.
Yeah, with a 23 size arrow, for outdoor 3D.
Yeah.
And it works out good. I shoot a CBE scope.
Okay.
I just have an old trophy taker rest that I use. I like it. It's an old fall away rest.
Okay.
And my release is a stands release. I use stabilizers that I shoot from Fairfield Outdoors.
Shane.
Yeah,
The one
Shane.
that Shane makes those.
Shane Heim
Yeah,
makes those for, and he'll build them for you at any length you
Yeah,
want.
he makes some pretty good stuff down there. I've seen those. I think Brandon has had some of those live when I saw it.
But I shoot the peep is like a podium peep, they call it. And
Okay.
That's it's got the adjustable lenses that you can put in, so you can go from a half clear up to whatever.
Yeah,
Sure.
and that's an insert peep system where you can. And I had just this year switched to a system like that. And
did you go specialty or did you go?
Yeah, it's a specialty.
Specialty.
Yep.
I say I think we sell specialty stuff a little bit, don't we, Ben?
And it just that allowed me to, for indoors and outdoors, change that peep so it aligns with my housing, and it allows me to get that front and rear alignment much quicker and more dialed. And
it's a little pricey, but it makes a big difference for sure because like you said, you can tweak it. I mean, you can go wide open for
you can open it up,
or
different inserts.
Yep. What about you, Eric? What do you got this year so far?
Right now I'm shooting Elite Result 38.
Okay.
I'm also shooting a CB sight housing. My bars are Shane's.
Yeah, he's got the vid.
Oh man, I'm telling you, struggling over here. It's tough. So I'm shooting Shane's bars. I'm also the CB. It's an old Verdicts, I think, is what I have on mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trophy Taker blade rest. This is my target setup. I also shoot the other Elite bow. What is that? The Ritual 35 they made.
Oh yeah, the Ritual.
That's a nice rig. It's fast. And it's an older model, but it's zippy. I think I'm going to use it for tack this year.
Okay. Do you shoot that for hunting or do you shoot that for 3D too?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love that bow for hunting.
Okay.
I like a 35-inch bow for hunting. I know, when I'm in the tree stand, I'd prefer 32, 30 maybe. But the problem is, usually when you're in a tree stand, if you have any kind of thing around you, getting that downhill shot. So the 35 I can see problems there sometimes with it. But for the most part, it's a nice stable platform at that ATA.
Yeah.
If you do any kind of like ground blind hunt or anything like that, it's great for that.
Okay.
But for like downrange shooting, tack, or just club level if I want speed, my ASA rig, that 38, it's not super fast. But for known distance, shooting ASA, it's great.
Sure. Yeah, have you tried out that Omnia yet?
I shot it, and I immediately handed it off to somebody else. Said I cannot
Oh,
shoot this
really?
anymore. I love it. I think it's great.
Oh, he just can't afford it. He just doesn't want to buy it. He's like, I got to set it down.
I'm going to wait.
It's pretty slick.
I might end up with one. I like it. I like it a lot.
What's the carbon bow? I'm looking at Ben here. Is it the Era? The Era?
Like the Era.
The Era. The ERA, yeah, the Era, yeah. That's pretty sweet too. Yeah, Elite's definitely coming around this year for sure.
Yep.
And we already know what you're shooting. But you just got a target bow.
Well, yeah, it's like a rental thing. And he's gonna end up with it. He's gonna take it from me.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Captain America.
But it's that one's a TRX 38.
38.
With the adjustable peep, trophy taker, like a lizard tongue. So it's not a fall away rest. It's a stationary rest, and then the what optic is on there?
You got
What is it?
Remember.
It's that blue one.
I don't remember.
It's all new. It's so new to me that I don't.
Yeah, you just got that bow not too long ago.
No,
right?
and Andrew, I thought he was going to say Shibuya, but
I don't know what it is. But my the hunting is we had the same hunting bow.
yeah, we had the 33.
33, yeah.
That'd be the tack bow this year too.
That'll be tack, yeah. And I'm actually that's getting set. That's primarily what I'm focusing on right now. That's getting set up. Gonna build some new arrows.
Yeah.
I had last year I went out heavy like FOCs.
You gotta be light and fast, man.
I'm backtrack. Man,
For tack,
I'm backtracking off of tack. Yeah, I'm going ultralight arrow fast.
I want to try to be under sub. I want to be like sub 370s.
Yeah, just because like when you start some of those distances with that heavy FOC, I mean, you pass 100 yards and your optic, that spot hog was already dialed, and then you'd have to hold at your bubble to get your 100-yard shot.
And that's a different.
And
that one elk that we shot at, and we all of our arrows were laying right in front of it.
Yeah, everyone was just, and I couldn't have held. The only way I could have held any better would have been using the bottom of my housing.
Yeah.
which was a shot I had never attempted. And so I just wasn't going to take it. But I did the bottom of the bubble and still came up probably a yard short.
Yeah. Is there I'm shooting the 33. I have 70-pound limbs. Shooting the Ultra View scope, non-magnified, just the hunting scope, with the Tetra Max HHA Tetra sight. And then I just have a Hamsky Epsilon Rest. Ben and I basically have the same setup. Hamsky Epsilon Rest and the Hamsky Peep, Raptor Peep, right? Yeah, he's shaking his head. So, and then I'm running the Shrewd front and back. Shrewd, I can't think of which one, Vantage bars. Excuse me. But I think for tack, like you said, I'm going to try to bump it up to the 75-pound mod.
Yeah.
To get a little bit of extra speed, because really the 5 pounds isn't going to make that a huge bit of difference, but it's going to make it on the speed side of it. It's going to really
if you could squeeze out like a 340 grain arrow.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic.
75-pound mod.
And I joked, and
better leave that arrow.
Yeah. It's gonna have some friction.
And kind of going back to these guys, it's not so critical on the spots because you're shooting your own setup. But is there any gamesmanship, if you will, on how you set up your arrows for an ASA shoot or a 3D shoot? Because I had joked with Ben that I was going to start fletching my stuff with darker colored veins. So you can't.
So you couldn't see.
Yeah,
So I couldn't follow up your shot.
Is there any not that this is super important conversation, but we're just sitting here bullshitting. But is there any gamesmanship to that a little bit?
Oh yeah.
Me personally, no.
Yeah, there's
well, he wins though, so I'm going to take his word.
Well, there you go.
But no, I mean, in a 3D tournament, I'm used to shooting spots.
Sure.
And so if you were going down there, and I don't care if it's a 10 or a 12 or whatever, if it's anything that I can see as a marker,
you're using it.
I'm using it. I'm gonna be saying I'm gonna look at it with my binoculars and say.
Keep in mind he shoots with friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, well, you've been used.
Yeah. And they're out there. They're trying to hit the center.
Yeah.
So if they've got anything, even I've had guys that do all black.
Yeah.
They'll go all black. Well, and then sometimes they'll forget about that bushing at the back of their arrow.
Oh, when you're shooting like a 23.
Oh, it glistens in the sun.
It's just one little thing that I can catch in my eye that, you use that. Well, and then you'll get guys that'll learn you did that, and here comes a black magic marker, and see if you use that anymore.
Sure.
Well, but there again, if you can see well enough and you can use you got to be first sometime.
Yeah.
So it's like being first.
Yeah.
But then I carry an arrow that's all blacked out. So when that guy that uses that black arrow on me and I'm up ahead of him, I pull the black arrow out.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, tit for tat, you just.
When did I joked about that with you. When was
it? Was last week.
Last week?
Yeah.
Was it last week?
It was with the archery hike.
Archery hike, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because how'd you like me calling him out about the 10-yard?
I was scrambling to pull the video up. So we did this archery hike last year, which you guys should join. It's an outdoor 3D.
Yeah.
Feeds the hunger. It's all great. So we give him yardage. Everyone's taking their yardage. There's a downhill shot. And he looks at me and he's like, 36. And I literally had just come off my rangefinder. And I'm like, it was like 46 or like 48. And I was like, that's weird. But I was like, I'm thinking kind of at first.
And I had already shot.
Yeah, I was like, well, maybe he mentally was trying to mess me up. But then he looks over and basically points at Ben. And I was like, yeah, 36, brother.
Dude, he goes.
Yeah. Yeah, it just.
Wow. It did that to you?
Yeah.
Did you get that arrow back?
Yeah, that wasn't the one that he broke.
Yeah, no, but yeah, it went through. I mean, yeah, because
what the hell?
I was almost slow to the game, but then once I realized what was happening, I was like, yeah, 36. It just went off everything in between him and the target. Awesome. It was great.
It's a good time. Well, that all kind of comes back to the fact that shooting these ASA events or shooting these club shoots. Like when you guys showed up, you were shooting with. I mean, you're shooting a qualifier, but you're shooting with Pete. You're shooting with your wife, and you're shooting with other friends. So get out. If you're turkey hunting only lasts so long. You got
it's
ASA.
Be a short, quick window.
Yep.
It's going to be a short window. You got ASA lasting basically the entire summer. So get out and try it.
Yeah,
you know,
for
see,
sure. It's a
you
lot
know,
of fun.
You know, what's $20, you know,
Yep.
to go shoot a shoot, or, you know, what's $20 to go down to, you know, Lancaster and shoot down there with you boys, and you know, just to continue to help, you know, hone those skills.
Yep. Bring
So-
confidence.
Yeah.
Trees.
Oh,
and you
that's the
know,
confidence.
you
It's
get
just
out
for
with your
confidence.
buddies. I mean, that's the best thing, just getting out there and,
Yep.
you know, and like you say, you know, trying to overdo him or he
Yeah.
overdoes you. And
Yeah,
make-
come up with your own score system. You don't have to follow the card at club shoots.
Yeah,
I mean, you're
exactly.
going to just a club 3D shoot. You can-
Well, and then it never does hurt, you know, okay, we'll do $1 on this one.
Yeah.
Everybody throws $1 in. Okay. Now
that's
the
always
nerves
fun.
come out.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of nerves, though, didn't you, before you guys went to Lancaster, you said you put, was it $10 or $20 on the bail?
It was a 5 spot.
Or it was a 5?
Yeah,
And then
if
couple
you
other
wanted
people
in
started.
high score bounty, we were pinning money to the target.
So,
bills, yeah.
so there's this new kid in town, Mason.
Well,
Mason.
I mentioned him at the Lancaster
You
shoot.
did. How old? He's 13 now.
He started shooting at the shop last year.
He'd been. Yeah, this is only his second season.
I'll
He
take off. I'll
he
say.
pulls out of his wallet a 5, pins it. Didn't he take it off from you
Yep.
guys?
He
Yep.
did.
He shot high score. I mean, this kid
I love
is
it.
lights out. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got ram balls.
He's-
like,
yeah.
he's just so confident.
He's got nerve.
nerve.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't
Yeah.
or no nerve. Yeah,
Yeah.
like he doesn't.
Well,
Oh, little punk walked right in
Is
there
it-
and took our money.
he
Like,
doesn't
Yeah.
know any better.
he doesn't know
I
any
shouldn't
better.
call him a punk. He's super
No,
polite.
he's
kid.
super. Yeah, very polite.
Super good kid. He's got good family, good
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah.
He's raised well. You can
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah, his dad Ryan, he's a killer.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that
Well,
dude drops some
At,
animals.
over
Is he?
Yeah.
I
over
didn't
at
know.
Lancaster,
He's
he
an
was my
absolute
arrow
killer.
guy. He's setting my
You
coach's
can see
box.
him with
Oh,
Kurt
really?
at
Yeah, he was
Lancaster,
in
yeah.
my coach's box.
We need to go back and watch that video.
Yeah, when you watch that.
Remind me, Ben. We'll have to put some of the links up
He
there
is-
to some of the shoots.
Yeah,
and
because
stuff for him.
he didn't when you were walking in. Didn't he tell you to switch?
Yeah, switch boxes.
switch
he come in-
boxes?
they were
Yeah,
out
put-
there
he's-
talking. They were saying, "Okay, now this guy's getting good here." He said, "You need to kick him off your box."
He's
and
sharp.
and he
He
goes,
is. Yeah.
he's on the left side. And I looked at him. I said, "Mason, I wanted the left side." He said, "Well, good. That's going to work." And he goes, I go, "Okay, now you got to go out." And he goes, "I got to go out there?" I said, "Yeah, you're going to be in the coach's box." And he's like, "Oh, okay."
When I
and
saw-
then he looks
yeah.
at me. He goes, "What do I do?" I said, "You just coach me." All right. So
Yeah.
every time I'd turn around and get my arrows, he'd give me a thumbs up and "You're doing good. You're doing good."
You're
But
like,
how
I
cool
know.
how cool of an experience is that for him?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, again, this is all inclusive. Going to these shoots, going to the spot shoots locally.
Yeah.
You're going to get multiple generations, and it's just fun to see to build that camaraderie. Like
Yeah.
you said, his dad's there. I mean, we've all known
Yeah, and
other
his grandpa
shooters.
was there too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
they all
it's-
come.
and
The
it's-
whole family.
Yeah, and
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you get there and you have multiple generations.
Yeah.
On the shoot, like at a line on the shoot.
Yeah.
And it's everyone's just helping each other
And
out.
he tried out that he shot that year or just this last year or this last.
did?
Yeah, and only missed it by a couple three guys.
Yeah.
And that's the first time he's ever
Showed
been to
me,
one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he did. He beat you by 4 points or something, didn't he?
I don't. What was his total?
I
I think
know.
I looked it
didn't
up.
know.
I had to I screenshotted it.
Was it
Yeah,
4
I think
points?
it was 4 points.
Dang, man, that kid.
I
He's
love
just
it.
like
Prodigy.
I tell you. Last year, he had a couple flashes of
Yeah.
being good, and this year
It's
he's
been
just
the
like,
whole year.
I'm gonna need your money.
I'm gonna have to.
He's
I'm gonna-
won multiple weeks in a row.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
love
yeah.
it. We're
He's
gonna
good.
have to-
He's won the shoot down at least once, a couple times now.
Yeah,
I think
a couple
twice.
times,
This
yeah.
year.
You two
So-
went into a shoot down.
Yeah, we shot
15 in,
yeah.
And that's the
15
whole
extra
shop.
ends.
That's
Yeah.
the whole shop shoots down for one pot at the end.
Yeah.
Wow.
For the shoot
We're gonna
down
have to get.
bounty.
I'll have to check him out. I've never.
He's great. His dad, he's
On
great.
Tuesdays. On Tuesdays.
Tuesdays, yep.
Super smart too. His dad's teaching him well. His dad's got him in the garage doing, they're doing arrow builds and they're doing
Yeah.
all the bow tech. They got a hooter shooter. And they're
That's
learning
awesome.
all the stuff. So his knowledge of the game at his age
Yeah.
is like
Superior. Yeah.
superior.
Yeah,
I mean,
he'll
his-
know how to build that bow
Better.
to fit him.
Yeah.
To make it shoot
Yes.
at its best.
And that's-
He's not going to have a crutch, or he's not going to have that. A lot of us, we have to learn so much. I'm still learning so much every day,
Yeah.
and I'm 40 and I've been shooting archery for years. And, I still learn all the time watching YouTube videos. And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And he's
Well,
came
he's-
so long.
But he's
far.
coming in the shop. That's how he's learning too. Like not only
Yeah.
his dad, but his dad's grown up at the shop.
Yep.
And it's like he's coming in, asking Kurt, asking you.
Yep.
I mean, I don't have much knowledge to give him, really none at all. But as long as he's doing his push-ups. Hey,
Right.
you still working out?
That's
That's
solid
it.
advice.
And then so he's like, I did 35 this morning. And
That's
you're like,
solid.
great.
That's solid.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's all inclusive.
How
It's
many
just fun for
push-ups can you do?
like 5.
5? Come on,
Yeah.
Andrew.
Dude,
Better than
it's
5.
Let's get it after it here
Kurt, when's
before.
the last time you did a push-up?
The last time I could straighten my wrist.
Well, okay. Fair enough.
I love it. Well,
Yeah.
Kurt and Eric both, thank you both for being here today.
Oh, you're very welcome.
And it's great to have you guys on. It's not every day we get to talk to someone who's been in a position that you're in. And
Thank you.
Congratulations again.
Yes,
And
congratulations. Kurt.
we
The check, to see the check.
That's
It was so
the
cool.
best.
I
we
think I
should
was
have
just
brought it. You know, we should have brought it.
I hung it up out there at Fairfield Outdoors.
Yeah,
yeah,
All
It's in
right,
the
we're
shop.
gonna next time we go up on the
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah.
We'll have to make sure we get a
Yeah.
picture of you with the
Yeah.
check. So again, thank you both for taking the time. Andrew, thanks for setting this up. It's been great. The one thing takeaway I think anyone can take is go out there and shoot your damn bow
Mhm.
Yeah, just shoot.
and bring
Yeah.
your family.
Yep.
Mhm.
And
Have
so-
fun. Have fun doing it.
Yeah,
Have
enjoy
fun.
it.
Yeah.
Practice,
Yep.
enjoy it, and just
Yep.
get the reps.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
All right, everyone, that is all we have for you today. We hope you enjoyed that conversation with Kurt and Eric. It's not every day someone local to us wins a national event like the Lancaster Archery Classic, and we were super glad Kurt was able to come in and share his experience with us. Also, if you enjoyed the conversation about the Ohio ASA shoots, head over to our show notes where we have all the information for this year's events. As always, we appreciate you listening, and until next time, enjoy the pursuit.